business, or again, if you're a consultant, or if you're an executive that thinks that they're going to start a coaching business overnight, well, I have something to let you know. There are thousands of coaches just in Southern California alone. But yet you only hear certain names in the industry. And you want to know why? Because they're putting out the most content. They're talking with their audiences. They're sharing their expertise. Their expertise is not a secret. So that in mind, right? The second thing that I mentioned was that, tripling down on your personal brand and thought leadership is important, even if you work a 9 to 5, even if you're in corporate, because people need to know that you're an option. People need to know, right, that they can contract, work with you, engage with you, and that somehow you're going to be able to not only provide people a solution, but demonstrate that you have expertise. So let's be clear. When I'm talking about what people are investing in, I don't mean to be offensive to anybody, but I do want to be very clear. There is this thing happening, this thing that's happening in corporate and freelance and small business and solopreneurship. And so they call it kind of the 5 to 9 and the 9 to 5, or the 9 to 5 and the 5 to 9. And what that means is that there's a whole bunch of people that are investing in their own personal brands before they go to work at 9. So from 5 to 9, they're working on whatever their side hustles are. Their side hustles are happening in the morning before their full-time job, or they're working their full-time job, and then in the evenings from 5 to 9, they're working on that side hustle, that passion, that book, right? That book, that podcast they want to do, that product they've designed. So keeping this in mind, right? Keeping that in mind, I want you to think about accountability is this driver of change, right? It's often used so punitively, and people go, I don't want to be accountable to anybody. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is after accountability, because the greatest ideas go undeveloped and under-nurtured. And I too have been in that position. It's not your fault. There are so many things out there to distract us. I had an idea 2 years ago that the market still does not have, that I get to launch this week. And I get to launch that because I chose to be accountable to a coach. I chose to be accountable to somebody else and set a date. And I want you to be really clear on this. There are different styles of coaches for anything you could want. If you need mindset, if you need life coaching, people go, well, why do I need that? Sometimes you may not need a business coach. You may need a life coach. Sometimes the life coach might tell you need a business coach. Sometimes you might need an accountability coach. There are different styles of coaching for everything. But what I have found is that when I say to someone, I'm going to execute this by this date, if I haven't paid, if I have no penalty if I don't launch it, then I won't do it. So knowing that, I want you to think about this one thing. And I'm going to walk you through a couple of things before I tell you what the one thing is in true Marissa fashion, because who would I be if I didn't tell you exactly what I was thinking? So number one, what we look at when we are trying to figure out things like business information or democratization of information is that the way that people are buying is so much different than what they were doing a few years ago. And so what I know is that none of this stuff is working. So again, first week of the year means you might actually be behind the curve, but here's what the data is showing us, right? Number one, if you think you are going to make an online course, right, and just sell a course of your expertise, the answer is going to be no. That's not a thing. That's not going to be the thing that moves the needle, okay? But what we know is that things like democratized learning, which is basically just sharing knowledge from people that are most directly, people sharing knowledge that are most connected to customers, products, and services, allows others to learn from it and improve. So again, this is why having a course is important. However, the democratized is the most important thing, okay? And here's why. As people get access to more and more free information out there, unless your course has something that no one has ever seen in the history of time, people aren't going to want to pay for that. They're going to want to come to your community. They're going to want to learn from you, but that's not what they're buying. And in fact, if you paid attention to any of the big coaches and consultants in the industry, almost all of them are not schlepping their courses. They're schlepping more than that. The course is like a byproduct. It's like a give me. It's like, of course, there's a course involved, right? But now when we look at the other side of this, what does this mean? It's just the acquisition and spread of this knowledge amongst a wider part of the population, and not just privilege, like people with privilege. So again, I'm going to ask you, in your business today, if your model is just built on courses, you need to reassess that model right away, because there has to be some magical way that you're presenting this information. I'm going to tell you what the word is in just a moment, but I want you to think of this. What is in it for people that work with you? What is in it? What are they getting? What is the value of working with you? Is there some secret sauce that you have? Is there some expertise? Is there a magic formula? And it might just be that you're really adept, right? You're really adept at being able to see a trend. Like, I'm really good at knowing that a trend is going to happen based on data and search intent, and then being able to quantify investment into that, right? So a year ago, I talked about AI and I talked about human intelligence. ChatGPT blew up on the market. Everyone's talking about it, but here's the problem. I've already done an assessment, and there's probably about 5 or 6 marketing gurus that all have the same crap and content on their pages. So what does that mean? That means the human intelligence to look at something and go, hey, this is a great start, but we need to change it a little bit. We need to make it ours. This is a thought starter, is going to be exceptionally important. So as we keep going through this process, I'm going to remind you, the way of thinking, and this ties directly to the one thing that people are investing, is really looking at passion, purpose, and profit. If you are working with a company or client, or if you're looking at your target avatars and your, whatever, who you're going after, they're going to be missing one of these things. They're either going to have a lot of profit, but no passion and purpose, or lots of passion, but kind of a little bit of purpose and no profit. But mostly what I see is they have a lot of passion, a lot of purpose, but no profit, right? So now that you know that, remind yourself of why people buy. Okay, why do people buy? Here are the basic 10 reasons why someone's going to buy something for you. And after we're done with this, I'm going to tell you what the one thing is. People want to buy if there's a way that they can make money, save time, avoid effort, escape mental or physical pain, get more comfort, achieve greater cleanliness or hygiene to achieve better health, gain praise, feel more loved, or increase their popularity or social status. That's it. That's why. So think about where you fit into this continuum. And here is the magic that people are going to pay for. And maybe it's going to be a letdown, or maybe it's going to be excited, but it's going to be really, really simple and clear. And it is transformation. Transformation is what people are investing in. There is an all-out, incredible high of people looking for business transformation of their brands, of their businesses, of their offers. They don't just want to go from A to B anymore. They want to figure out, how do I go A to F, A to H, A to Z? How do I make this really huge leap? Is there a faster way that they're doing? Is there a better approach to doing this? Do they have to do everything by the book? And the answer is going to be no. And so as we start to look through this process, the reason I share this for you is most people right now are thinking, I'm going to leave my corporate job. I'm going to start a consulting company. People are going to love me. People are going to love, people in corporate love me, so everyone else will. And then they'll learn. They'll learn that when you post on social media, probably 1% of your audience is paying attention. And so through that process, as you start to think about the year, I want you to think about transformation. And I want to think, how are you transforming someone's brand or business? Are you an SEO ninja that comes in and does an assessment and lets people know the path and the way? Are you a brilliant graphic designer, and can you transform someone's business vibe with a simple landing page that really showcases how awesome they are? Are you a sales expert that can come in and show them a process that allows their prospects and people in their network to feel super invested into what they're doing? Or are you someone that knows how to take people from A to F in whatever industry? So I don't care if you work in plumbing, HVAC, roofing. I don't care if you run a small firm or a big firm. This right here is what people are going to buy. They're not just going to buy your $20 course, okay? They're not going to buy your coaching program if they don't understand how transformation is going to happen. And what I want you to know is that what's really cool is that once you start here and once you go back to the reasons that people buy, you're going to be in a great spot. You're going to be in a great position to crush it. But here's what I know. Statistically, right now, there's over 40 million different course offerings online. Everything from traditional academic education to coaching, consulting, data, finance. 40 million courses. What do you think about that? 40 million courses. Everyone has a course. At some point, we knew that that train was going to kind of stop. So I'm not saying to stop making your courses. What I am encouraging you to do is to think about, how do I distribute these into my communities? How am I doing more than just charging for a course? What am I offering as an add-on? Or what are people going to get through these courses that really moves the needle in working with me, right? And that's really what we did over the last couple of days. We did a couple of free workshops where people were reflecting on their businesses and their brands. And all we wanted people to think about is like, what did you do in 2022? What felt chaotic, or what gave you anxiety, or what just felt messy or ugly? What brought you joy? Where were you happiest? Where did you feel most alive in your business? And chances are, if you can't think of where you felt most alive, then it's time to really reflect on what you need to do in 2023. And then the next day, what we did is we just looked at what people's offers were and how we needed to revamp it. And would it surprise you to know that every person that had a high performing offer did not like doing that offer? Every person that participated in that workshop series that had a very steady offer did not like implementing that offer. It was time intensive or labor intensive. And so what we looked at is, what were the drivers where they would feel okay doing that offer? And for most people, if they charged 3 times more, they would feel okay. So they decided to charge 3 times more. For some people, they went, I'm going to train, another person to do that. So what I want you to pay attention to, and again, this is agnostic, whether you are in the financial services industry, whether you are in a kind of blue collar industry, whether you're working at a desk, you're an inside sales manager, how is what you're doing transforming someone? And if you can figure that out, you're going to crack the code. So thanks for joining me. Peace out. I hope you have a beautiful first week of January and that you all had a wonderful holiday. My name is Marissa Friedman. I am known as the Executive Cat Herder, and we are in the process of launching Strategy Solved, which is a brand that is on-demand support for people just like you. Thanks for hanging out with me.